Before this video begins, there was a big clans update to old school RuneScape, and if you're looking for a clan to join, feel free to apply to Rebirth. This is the clan I'm in, and it's the one you've seen in the videos. A very social clan with plenty of active members from different time zones, and a great place to be if you just want some friendly people to talk to while you play, or you want to do or learn some PVM with others. We do frequent gobbles, dungeon trips, Dagon Kings, Nightmare, as well as the Chambers of Xeric and Theatre of Blood. People are more than happy to teach new players, and this is the place where I first started learning raids. If you're interested, please add me in game or drop me a message in the comments section, or put your RS name there as well, and I will get in touch with you. And yes, now please enjoy the final instalment of Noob Buys TBOW. Hello and welcome to my final evaluation video from the Noob Buys TBOW series. In the first and second videos I revisited the journey from episodes 1 to episode 35 and discussed the progress made at different stages of the series. In this one I'll be showcasing the total KCL clues it took me to finish certain targets, and I'll evaluate which places I got lucky at and vice versa, since I have gone back and tracked exactly how much KCL I did after the bow purchase at the respective places and clues. Also did say some of that in the last video. I obtained quite a few pets in the series and we'll talk about those. I'll also be looking at the bank value and Pvm items, as well as evaluating what I learned from the series, so I hope you enjoy. Starting off with the bank, and one thing I've never been that good at is organising my bank, but I've semi-organised it to show the current Pvm items, and I'll talk about how they changed since the start of the series. In terms of range, I upgraded to the Necklace of Anguish first, then the Pegasian Boots, then the Armadale, which was one of the last gear upgrades overall, since it's pretty much the same as Blessed Hide in terms of range attack, but is a bit tankier in defence. For Major, I had minimal uses for expensive gear like Ancestral until I started doing solo Chambers of Xeric, so stuck with gold robes for the burst tasks, and instead just upgraded the damage bonus gear, and there's only one real expensive item here, which was the Tormented Bracelet. For melee, I began with full Torags, which in fairness is great for tanking at a lot of places. I was still doing a lot of Slayer, so did upgrade to Bandos when the time felt right, and other stuff like the Torture Ami and Primordial Boots, but they were never essential and I'd often sell them back to buy other gear at times. In terms of weapons, I loved the Kodai wand for maging and bought that once and never sold it back to buy anything else. For melee, the Rapier was one of my purchases towards the end, and that was great for Slayer, but a regular whip and Tentacle Whip with bossing before that were absolutely fine. Zami Hasta as well. I bought and sold back the Dragon Hunter Lance a few times, as that was great for Vorkoth and Dragon tasks, but again not really essential. Obviously for ranged it was the T-bow and the Blowpipe, and I did use an Armadale crossbow for Basilisk Knight tasks. Throughout the series I'd often upgrade my gear at the first opportunity, so wouldn't just let loads of money sit in the bank for a while. I'm kind of a fan of that approach in general, just upgrade your gear whenever you can. As for the rest of the bank, besides the PVM items, not really a lot of organisation. That's the clue tab, and the main tab, but just to show I can cash those in for some onyxes. That's pretty much all from Infernal Eel Fishing and Fire Capes. Anything else useful here? Some crystal keys. I might hold them back and maybe use them on the enhanced crystal chest, though that's probably a bit of a waste of the shards. 2 Basilisk Heads, it always reminds me of that Basilisk Jaw Grind. An old Sarah Sword. Dark Claws, if I ever fancy the Skatizo Slayer Helm. Some ancient shards, keep the arc light going. 114k iron arrows, it's all from Giant Mole, I think. Same with the U-Logs, Giant Mole and Zora. Gauntlet Cape, good old thing. Hellcat, very reliable. Couple of whips for the Tentacles, some Salvamis for the Theatre. Pyro outfit, a couple of barracks pieces, some Chin Chompers, 2.4k each, Jesus. Crystal Saw, ever reliable. And then some kind of random pieces of gear, to be honest. Again, I probably just need to get this a good clean out, maybe spend like a couple of hours, and then it will just kind of look good for the rest of the game. But we'll get around to that one day. And not too much else of note. Some seeds, but I'm farming a run out, I can take care of those. And some adamant darts, some sort of the blowpipe. Okay, that was the kind of main messy tab. So fishing tab, I sold most of this when I got 99, and then when I finished off the pet as well. So those will continue to stack up to one of my AFK activities, and then I need to get 3,000 of those for the Heron recolor. Some soaked pages as well from Temporos. So I like to keep my supplies in this tab too, and they're looking very nice. 800 super restores and 400 brews and some prayer potions too. And those are going up in price quite a bit too, 11.1k now. Some bastions, and plenty of manta rays from Zora, and then mostly from PVM, a lot of this stuff actually. What else we got? Manta rays, Temporos 2, and 204,000 feathers, never running out of those. The ore tab, I'm going to save the gold ore if I do eventually go for 99 smithing. That'll be how I do it. The rune ore, the rune bars, addy bars, I will probably sell the rune stuff just kind of every now and again. Addy bars I'll smith into dart tips, and Fletchling got 9k ready to go there. Coal, quite a lot of that from Zora. Probably sell that, some of the iron ore. 260 minerals. I think I can spend those on gem bags or bags full of gems. Gems. Oh, speaking of gems, anyway, got some cut ones here, some craft XP potentially. The rune tab. Well, this looks pretty nice. 334,000 blood runes. That's all from rune crafting. Oh, some from Hydra too, but yeah, an estimated 125 mil, and I reckon that those are going to go up in price too. So, not going to do anything with that yet. I've got the scythe and the sang, of course. So that's going to probably dip into that stack quite a bit. Elsewhere, tons of chaos runes, and that's what I sold a load of those recently. Same with the death runes and the law runes, pretty much all from Zora. I've got 16.8k nature runes, a lot of those from Vile Watches. Cash stack looking nice at the moment, although some of that will be given away quite soon, doing a bingo event in the clan, so that's going to decrease by a good 75 mil or so. Dragon Bones all from Hydra and various other PVM. Probably going to use those on the Wildy Altar eventually. Giant Mole, still haven't got that pet yet, so going to hold all the stuff back for that, and that's looking like about 40 mil or so. And then some other potions, super energies, antidotes. Tor styles ready to be made into super combats when I want. And the herb tab and the supply tab looking pretty nice too. Got some restores there, prayer potions in there, some brews in there. So yeah, never going to run out of supplies on the account. So yeah, might as well consider myself an Iron Man in this case. Clue tab just puts some various kind of clue uniques. I'll probably transport most of those to the POH chest soon. 908 purple sweet, 7.6k. I might as well sell those. It's pretty much a waste to use them anywhere else. And then yeah, good old third age druidic road bottom, maybe not. Okay, regular herbs, so this just needs to probably go to an understand. Most of these just come straight from Nightmare Zone and a few PVM drops too, but I try to kind of clean them every now and again, just not let them stack up too much. Okay, farming tab, don't use this one as much, just let my saplings and birdhouses stack up here. And then we're back to this tab again, very nice to look at. Obviously the bank value says that 3.2 bill seems like a lot, but I never sort of thought much about the bank value during the series actually. I was never kind of focused on GP. Obviously I like to upgrade gear and stuff, but I never really thought too much about how much money I was making in the GP per hour. So yeah, it's kind of just stacked up over time, and yeah, from 1 bill starting to 3.2 bill essentially. I'll now go through the total KCs and clue counts I did for each of the goals in the series, and we can assess just how good the RNG was and how much I really had to grind for some of these drops. Pets won't be included here, as I will have a section next where I showcase all the pets obtained in the series. Firstly, Demonic Gorilla, so I did not track these accurately, but looking back it took about 6 Black Demon tasks to obtain the 4 Zenite shards, which is very lucky, but if you've seen some of my previous videos you'll know I'm probably the luckiest player in the game when it comes to Zenites, so I was hardly surprised to finish these in probably about 1000 KC. Zora was the first and last boss that I killed for the series, which was quite fitting I thought. The luck was certainly there to start with, as I had 3 of the 4 main uniques and 2 pets within just 400 kills. I then went quite dry to be honest, and only got 1 unique in about 450, 2 uniques in 650 before it got better towards the end, and the final drop was the Serpentine Visage on 1194 KC. So in total from Zora, 1 Tan's Fang, 2 Magic Fangs, 4 Onyxes, 2 pets, a Jar of Swamp and the Serpentine Visage, so not too shabby. With Ziliana, the Saradomin Sword and Light came quite quickly, but it took almost 800 kills to receive the first Mega Rare, or the 1 in 508 being the Saradomin Hilt. It ended up taking 1346 KC overall to get the Armadillo Crossbow, which was the final unique, but a ton of Sarah Swords and Lights along with that. No pet, unfortunately. The Dagonoth King's luck was solid, although the drops were only 1 in 128 chance, so yeah, going dry on all of them was not going to happen. I got 3 of the 4 rings under drop rate, but amazingly ended up going over 550 kills without getting a warrior ring. So to summarise, the KCs that I finished each Dagonoth King on were 108 KC for Prime, 112 KC for Supreme, and 571 KC for Rex, and yeah, unfortunately no pets in there in the total KCs that we did afterwards as well. What was probably our longest grind of the series ended up being at the Alchemical Hydra, and I'd only done about 50 KC before the series began and hadn't had anything before then, so yeah, everything was new. Despite an amazing start with a claw and a ring piece in less than 500 kills, I ended up taking over 1000 to finish the ring itself, and yes, that's like 1 in 520 I think for the ring as average completion. So yeah, they're finally on 1634 KC, so about 3 times the rate on the leather and almost 3 times the rate on the tail as well. You might argue, and I do agree, that I made a lot of money, which is true, but this was a very time-consuming one and cost quite a few Slayer points too, so happy to get it done when I did. My luck at Cerberus before the series certainly wasn't great, so this was a chance to improve it. It took 1471 KC in the end to finish all of the regular drops, and that included a couple of jars too. Unfortunately, it was the Primordial Crystal I went quite dry on, and was the final crystal I obtained in what would be a fairly scary KC for Iron Man out there, or to be honest, anyone at Cerb, because it's a supply eater and definitely not profitable if you don't get drops. Perhaps the toughest challenge of the series would be to get a purple chest from Raid, and it did do a bit of Theatre of Blood as well in there. It's still RNG obviously, so you could kind of pull any item on 1k points, but the chance of that happening is very slim, and that's not what we wanted to do either. We wanted to pull an item on a decent raid. But ironically it was the raid I died in that I actually got the purple, and that was a Dexterous Prayer Scroll. We had some pretty good raids before that. Overall it was 14 solo raids to obtain that purple, and yes, 17k points for the Dex. The Gauntlet was a goal I added earlier this year, and after wanting to learn the content, it took just 4 corrupted completions to get the unique, and that was a Crystal Armor Seat, which is worth quite a bit in fairness. In terms of the clue content, I enjoyed going for Ranger Boots since medium clues were pretty chill, away from all of the Pvm and a good source of master clues as well. I used Eclectic Implings to get my clues as well as the Stone Chest in there. It took 290 medium clues in total to get what was my 3rd pair of Rangers on the account, and ticked off that goal for the series, so yeah, the luck fairly decent there as that was on drop rate. Now, the third age item, that was probably the one goal of the series where I knew I was going to need some pretty incredible RNG, since third age on its own is extremely rare from any tier of clue. I always did do lots of hard clues from Slayer, but it would take 3,250 hard clues overall to even hit the drop rate for a piece of third age, which is, well, frightening, let's just say. That's similar for master clues too. However, the Mimic exists, and I knew that would be my best chance of getting third age, so I made sure I turned that on, and also did a lot of master clues in the series anyway. And for those of you who don't know, there's a 1 in 227 chance to roll the third age table from a master clue Mimic as the extra reward, and you do just get the 1 roll each time, so a Mimic itself being 1 in 15 still kind of makes that quite rare if you look at it from kind of wide perspective. Anyway, I was very lucky, the 10th Mimic and in total 83rd master in the series. I obtained a third age mage shop, and that one was near Christmas too, so quite fitting I think. Like the third age, the odds of getting an Eternal Gem or Imbued Heart from a superior creature are not really in anyone's favour, to be honest. I do have a video on Superior Slayer explaining those drop rates. I was lucky enough to receive mine from a Necryarch on, I think, my 208th superior overall, and that was a 1 in 440 chance. I did also get some Mist and Dust Battle Stars throughout the series, but they didn't count, so yes, amazing to get the heart. So looking at those on the boss side, I didn't get insanely lucky anywhere other than maybe the Chambers of Zerek Purple, but at the same time I didn't really get unlucky apart from the Hydra and Cerberus grinds. Some of the bad RNG was certainly evened out there by getting the third age and Mega Rare Superior Slayer unique relatively early, as those were the 2 drops which were statistically very unlikely for me to get in the time and Casey that I got them, saving a ton of hours which could then be pumped into the bossing. Here are all of the pets that I got in the series, and it comes to a total of 8 overall, which is pretty lucky in my opinion. Skilling Pets, one of the targets of the series was to get one of these, and that came in the form of a Tangle Root, the farming pet on 32.4 million XP. I also got 2 other Skilling Pets in the series, which were Mining and Fishing at 18.4 million XP and 15.6 respectively, taking the total Skilling Pet account on the account to 4. The first boss pet of the series was the Snakeling from Zoro on 755 KC, and then went 5 months in total, what was about 15 episodes, without receiving another pet from anywhere until I broke that drawstring at Vorkarth of all places, where I was just taking a break from other bosses. That was 217 KC for that one. That proved to be a fruitful period for me, as I got the Kraken pet just a couple of episodes later on 8849 KC, got the Tangle Root of course, and then the Dupe Zora pet about 200 kills after the first one, and then the Soul Wars pet on my 4th Spoil of War, when I was just doing some of that with my clan. Skatizo was the next and final boss pet on 78 total KC. Ironically, I did over 13,000 kills at the Dagonoth Kings and God Wars dungeons, mostly during this series, and I'm still yet to receive a single pet from those places. It is a 1 in 5,000 though, so that's certainly a goal to work towards in the future. No complaints at all from me. The 8 pets in the series was a lot more than I was expecting, so delighted with that. The title of the series then, Noob Buys TBOW, always a bit of a funny joke to myself and kind of summed me up to be honest quite well when I bought the bow. Very limited PVM experience compared to a lot of players in the game, and not really much kind of knowledge either of like mechanics at all. So yes, an innocent or a cute noob, some might say. Alongside all of the drops, one of the goals of the series was to learn lots of new content, take on some new challenges, and just in general challenge myself a bit more in the game. I didn't start with anything insanely difficult, and that was probably right to be honest. So for example, Solo Zilliana was one of the first bosses I killed for the series, and that's just a simple method of kiting her around the room, but helped me to learn things like attack speed of the bow, how the player will path, how to stay out of melee range, etc. All simple things which would then come in useful as the bosses or methods became more challenging. Plus, with the 3 minions there, it's actually a great opportunity to learn how to prayer flick properly, and I started with flicking 2 of the minions before being able to comfortably flick all 3 after a bit of practice, providing they're all attacking on different ticks, and even managed to off-tick them sometimes. I learned the Krill Suitsara 5-0 method with the bow, and I do have a guide on that one. That one requires quite a lot of perfection and focus to get right, as long as good clicks too. The Gauntlet, more specifically the Corrupted Gauntlet, was something I wanted to learn at first. It was very difficult, but I managed to get the hang of it, and taught me a lot about switching prayers, switching gears, sometimes even both at the same time, as well as pathing mechanics too, since that's very important when fighting the Hunlef. By the end I was learning Solo Chambers of Xeric and the Theatre of Blood, two things I probably wouldn't have gone near at the start of the series, so it felt amazing to get my first completions at both of those, and whilst I still have a ton to learn in both of them, the journey has at least begun. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, I had a ton of fun during the series. None of it felt like a chore or a grind, and having things to aim for was great motivation to keep playing, and then obviously getting the drops and hitting my targets felt amazing too. I did lots of duo bossing too to obtain some of those drops, and that remains one of my favourite aspects of the game, so I thank all of the people who came along to bossing trips and in general chatted with me in game too. That is it for my evaluation of the series, and I think I've covered just about everything. As for what's next, it's going to be more progress on this account. I did think about making maybe a unique account build, some sort of Iron Man, but I feel happy playing on this one and have a lot to aim for still. The upcoming combat achievements will be the base of my next series, and the collection will also form part of that, especially at the beginning. As of the upload date of this video, that Combat Diaries update is still not due until the end of June and could potentially be later, but nevertheless the series will begin in a couple of weeks with an intro video to all of the goals and targets, just like I did with this series, as well as a bit of progress. It'll probably be 4 to 5 episodes, and then there will be a new one every Wednesday until the combat achievements are released. Thank you for all the amazing support throughout the series, and I will see you all very soon.